Gang, I'm excited about today's video because I've got an award-winning fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today along with 3 other fragrances. This is a brand called One Day Fragrances or Perfumes, and they have a collection called Tea Exclusive Fragrances. There's 4 fragrances in the collection, and all the fragrances are created by Michael Wong. And the award-winning fragrance is Oolong Tea. So I'm going to talk to you about Oolong Tea, plus 3 other fragrances in this collection. One is a Jasmine tea, one is an Osmanthus tea, and finally a Pu'er tea. Are you a tea drinker? If you are, you really need to check these out, especially also if you are a tea fragrances lover. Anyway, on top of that, the brand has decided to give away 3 bottles of Oolong Tea to subscribers of this channel from the USA, Canada, EU, UK, and Australia. So find out all about One Day's tea exclusive fragrances, and of course Oolong Tea, the winner, coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about One Day fragrances, One Day perfumes, and the tea exclusive collection of fragrances. There's 4 of them in the collection. And do I have to tell you how great Oolong Tea smells like? There was a time in my life I was drinking a lot of Oolong Tea, and I love the smell of that tea, and I loved it because I mixed it with honey. I also added a little milk, and it's kind of like what I get with this one. That's how delicious this is. The other 3 fragrances I have not smelled. I'm going to do on-camera smelling with you, but I have to highly recommend Oolong Tea from One Day. But here's the story of what happened. So in June I was planning to go on a trip. So One Day contacted me prior to that, and they were asking me to send some fragrances to me, and I wasn't familiar with the brand. So I asked them to send me some samples, and once I come back, I will have them to check them out. But I came back from Europe like around the 21st of June, and then immediately went to Miami for the World Perfumery Congress, where Art and Olfaction was also doing their awards. So I came and sat down next to an Asian couple, and turned out the brand was One Day. And at that awards show at the Art and Olfaction Awards, One Day won the Artisan category for Oolong Tea. So this is a winner, and it definitely deserves it because it's absolutely delicious. If you're a tea lover, you got to check these out. Especially this one. I haven't smelled the other one. The other one's the other 3 fragrances, but this is definitely a winner, and I love it. It's very, very cozy. It features notes of bergamot, clary sage, oolong tea leaf for top notes. Heart notes features honey and jasmine. Finally, in the base notes, it's vetiver, tonka beans. So the sound, yeah, you know, it's traditional the way it sounds. You start off with the citrus up top. There's definitely some green aromatic herbal touches, and then the oolong tea takes over, the tea leaf. You do experience its grassiness, leafiness, for sure. But to me, man, it smells delicious. It's really a tea fragrance. In the heart notes, the honey pops in, it sweetens up the fragrance, and you do experience the tea drinking ritual, a sweet tea drinking ritual here, along with some jasmine floral seed touch to it. And in my lifetime, I've sampled many tea fragrances, and jasmine does seem to appear quite a bit in tea fragrances. I think for some reason it complements it, and also because jasmine is also a tea on its own. We have one here we're going to talk about. The fragrance eventually settles to something sweet, grassy, a little bitter, almondy, a little tobacco-ish in the dry down, but it's still sweet and tea-like because the oolong tea in here is the prominent note. It's what really runs the show, and it's a really, really delicious fragrance. For me also, oolong tea I think is going to be a perfect autumn fragrance. For some reason, there's this cozy factor that goes with tea fragrances that I really, really love about them, and drinking tea is very comforting for me. So wearing the actual tea fragrances, the same type of idea, kind of gives you that kind of comforted, relaxed, cozy, feel. So you just spray some on and sit and read a book, or maybe spray some on and do a cup of tea and have it while you're smelling your fragrance on, watching some TV, or sitting next to a fireplace or something. So the first fragrance I'm talking about is the fragrance I know about from One Day. This is Oolong Tea, super delicious tea fragrance. You got to check it out. I know there's a lot of tea fragrance lovers out there, and I think you won't be disappointed with that. So I hope you guys get to try it. The brand is from Hong Kong, and the prices on their website are Hong Kong I believe it's dollars. So the conversion rate is not converted. The only thing is I don't think the brand really does any sales outside of Hong Kong, so you'd have to check in with them. But for now, if you can get your hands on a bottle of One Day Oolong tea, really do recommend it. It's super delicious, as I said. Really great. Sweet, herbal, green, a little bit, definitely leafy, grassy, and that tea smell with some light flowers. Really super delicious. So the fragrances come in boxes like this. This is Jasmine tea. We're gonna go ahead and open this one up. While I'm doing that, why don't you guys let me know if you're a fan of tea fragrances. And if you are, let me know what is your favorite tea fragrance. I know there's a ton out there. I think when I come back from Europe, I'll be doing another tea fragrances video. I think it's time. But let's go ahead and check out Jasmine tea. I have drunk Jasmine tea, plenty of it in my lifetime. I am in San Francisco. We have a very large Asian community here, lots of Chinese restaurants I go to, and of course one of the things they bring when you just come in is some hot tea. So Jasmine tea is one of the ones that they serve quite a bit, and it's interesting. It's like drinking flowers. Does that make sense? Does this idea sound interesting to you guys? I love the smell of jasmine, and the tea itself is quite nice as well. It's not my favorite tea to drink because it's very floral, but it's very unique. So this is Jasmine tea from One Day, and this is a tea exclusive collection fragrance. So this features notes of jasmine and clary sage for top notes. Heart notes features tea leaf and Tieguanyin tea extract. Finally in the base notes it's vetiver and musk. So let's go ahead and sample. Immediately, I can't believe how authentic this smells. When I get tea, I always smell the tea before it's used. I get them in a box. It's like loose leaf, and this to me smells just like jasmine tea. But to me, it's not just the jasmine flower, of course. It's also the tea itself, like the smell of the actual tea leaf. Quite gorgeous. There's a little bit of the aromatic touch up top. I don't think it's really big. It's just a little herbal touch. And you know, jasmine does have that kind of herbal touch a little bit as well. Not too much, I would say. It's more of the tea. But I feel like the jasmine and the clary sage really do work beautifully together here. With the jasmine dominating, of course, because this is, after all, called jasmine tea. It's blended beautifully with the jasmine, the clary sage, the tea leaf, and Tieguanyin tea extract. Beautiful. It's a really beautiful fragrance. If you're a lover of jasmine, you must get your nose on that one. I do recommend it, especially if you like the idea of jasmine and tea together, and definitely you can have the best of both worlds. So jasmine tea, it's a great offering. I still prefer oolong tea as my favorite because it's not necessarily really jasmine, but there's jasmine touches in oolong tea. But for me, it seems like the reversed, whereas the jasmine dominates in jasmine tea and there's less tea. But I feel like when that is worn, you're going to kind of get a balance of the jasmine and the tea. Do let me know if you like the idea of jasmine tea. Put a comment down so I can find out. Now we're moving on to One Day's Osmanthus tea. And I speak a lot about Osmanthus and fragrances. In Asia, in China, I believe, it's drank as a tea. We don't drink it as a tea here. The way Osmanthus works in fragrances is they use them to create a fruity profile for the fragrance, or give it a fruity profile. And most of the time it's stone fruits, like peaches, nectarines, apricots, even plums. And the other thing about Osmanthus tea is not only does it have that fruitiness, it also has a leatheriness. So let's see how this wears or smells. So we've got here the box, and the fragrances come like this. The bottle must have moved a little. What I like about this collection, I really love that whole whiteness of the bottles. Like the label is all white and it's very pure, and you can hardly see the text on it, but it's there when you look at it. So Osmanthus tea features notes of Osmanthus Absolute Jasmine for top notes. Heart notes features tea leaves. Base notes features vetiver. So this seems a little more simplistic, but I feel like the fact that you can get these fruitiness and the leatheriness from Osmanthus, probably maybe they put it, you know, didn't put too many notes in it because you're going to get these other facets of the Osmanthus, like the leatheriness and the fruitiness. But it's definitely tea-like. I've never actually drank Osmanthus tea. I'm curious to try it someday. The other thing I want to say about these fragrances from this collection is that they do have a bit of a simplistic quality about them. And the fact that they're all white obviously makes for kind of a pure experience to me. So yeah, fruits right up top. But to me, this seems a little subdued compared to the last two fragrances. This one's not screaming as much. Let me spray a little more. Yeah, it definitely has a fruitiness to me. This seems apricots and plums together. So there's definitely that fruity sweetness together. Along with the jasmine, it definitely appears here for sure. I feel like the Osmanthus and the jasmine are working together. They're both flowers. I mean, they do complement one another. Definitely the tea experience is kind of developing here. This one seems to me more about the Osmanthus, less about other things. And if you listen to the notes, there's less notes here. I'm assuming it's going to develop into a little bit of a leathery touch, but to me this is very, very fruity, and the idea of apricots and plums are definitely what is happening up top. So this one also, as I said, is a little subdued in comparison to the others. It seems a little closer and not screaming as much. And the collection is fairly simplistic. This one seems to be more simplistic because it is not screaming, but it's definitely uber fruity for sure. Definitely a fruity experience. This is, I mean, I don't hate the fragrance. It's not my favorite. I still love Oolong tea. And the jasmine one next to the Osmanthus is also really, really great. But somebody might like a fruity tea experience for sure. So that's Osmanthus tea from One Day. Do let me know if you like the idea of Osmanthus tea, and do let me know if you knew what Osmanthus was, and what are your favorite Osmanthus fragrances. There's a ton out there. I think it was having a moment a couple of years ago. It's kind of slowed down a bit with the Osmanthus fragrances, but yeah, let me know if you have a favorite Osmanthus fragrance. Or if you don't have a favorite Osmanthus fragrance, there's probably a fragrance that Osmanthus is a supporting note. Maybe you've noticed it and you're curious about it. Do let me know what it is. And then finally we have Pu'er tea, this one right here. So I have had Pu'er tea here and there. It wasn't my favorite. Oolong tea was a thing for a while. Like I think towards the end of the 2000s, early 2010s, I was having a ton of Oolong tea. I used to go to Pete's and get the loose leaf and drink it, and it was really good and delicious. Very cozy and comforting. I don't have much experience with Pu'er tea though. Do let me know if you have experience with it. Let's open this up. Do want to also mention these bottles are 60 ml. They're not 50 or 100. So it's a different size than typical, which is kind of cool. It's two what do you call it? 2 fluid ounces, what it basically converts to with the size of 60 ml. So here is Pu'er tea, this one right here. So Pu'er tea, I think, is the latest launch in this collection. I couldn't figure out the dates exactly. I think they were all launched in 2021, or I got random dates from different places. But Pu'er tea features Pu'er tea leaves for top notes. Heart notes features cedarwood, cypress, patchouli. Finally, in the base notes, it's incense and vetiver. So this one seems like it's going to go woody, earthy, and seems like it's the darkest of the entire collection. At least the tea leaves are somewhat bright to me, but everything else seems very dark notes, like woods and incense and smoke and vetiver and things like that. So it sounds like it's going to be a very earthy experience. So let's go ahead and see how that is. So this one also is a little subdued, but definitely a darker experience for sure. There's smokiness running throughout it. There's definitely a tea experience, but it's not like, I wouldn't really call this a tea fragrance because I think it's woods, lots of woods. Definitely a greenness here from the cypress, definitely earthiness. It's grassy, it's earthy, and smoke running throughout it. So I feel like this is kind of like maybe like inspired by some kind of a religious ritual, whereas the incense and the smoke from the incense is kind of combined, and probably somewhere up in the mountains there's the cedar wood, cypress, and things like that. I think the fragrance actually is nice. I like this one more than Osmanthus. I have a challenging time with Osmanthus, as in not challenging as I can't wear it. Sometimes there's this odd smell about Osmanthus that kind of comes through, and even though the one here, Osmanthus tea, is fine, I think I like this one as a fragrance to wear because it's also less fruity. But this definitely is very dark. They're definitely very woody and lots of earth. And again, as I was saying, this is not a very big in-your-face tea experience. It's definitely lots of earthy woods and smoke and things like that. So this is nice. It's a green woody fragrance. This is Pu'er tea from One Day. I still prefer Oolong tea. I think that's amazing. I can see why it won. It's just very, very cozy and comforting. Really, really cozy and comforting. I mean, it's like when I smell it, it makes me want to drink it, kind of a thing. I haven't had Oolong tea in ages. I need to go have some right now. Although we're having a heat wave here, not really craving any tea, but the smell of this Oolong tea is so, so delicious. So Oolong tea is my favorite, followed by Jasmine tea, then followed by Pu'er tea, and then followed by Osmanthus tea. Let me know if you guys have sampled these fragrances, if you are curious to sample them. I featured Oolong tea in a video when I first got back from my trip, so you might have seen me talk about it. But now I'll definitely be highlighting this one in any kind of an upcoming tea fragrance video I do. But do let me know, I guess I should say, do let me know for the giveaway which fragrance sounds the best to you. Don't just follow my lead and say Oolong tea because I'm saying it's my favorite. You might think Pu'er tea, that the sound of it might be better, or Osmanthus tea sounds better to you. So just do it by what sounds good to you, and just don't follow my lead. But as I said, I am favoring Oolong tea. So let me know which sounds the best to you, which fragrance, and what you liked about this video. And then finally, put down your country. And if you are in the USA, put down your state. Other than that, guys, one more thing, you should subscribe. If you're not subscribed, please make sure you're subscribed, otherwise you won't qualify. Other than that, yeah, let me know what sounds great to you about One Day Fragrances tea exclusive collection. If you've sampled this collection, do let me know what your thoughts are. And if you know Art and Olfaction, did you know that Oolong tea won the award? Put some comments down so I can find out. Other than that, I appreciate you tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.